I'm starting a new series where I give criminals constructive criticism. Because when you're watching something on TV, you're like, why would he even do that? So I'm going to give Pablo Escobar some constructive criticism while also going over his life in sort of a documentary style. So that if you ever wake up and accidentally find yourself the head of an international drug cartel, you know what to do. And if this video helps your evil empire, hit a sub on it.
Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria was born on December 1st, 1949 in Rio Negro, Colombia. Ever since he was young, his mother could recall him saying he wanted to be a lawyer with a nice car, or that he wanted to grow up to be president of Colombia. Pablo's criminal career began as a petty thief, stealing and sanding down gravestones and reselling them, stealing cars, selling fake diplomas and lottery tickets. One of Pablo's early goals was to make $1 million Colombian pesos by the age of 22. He overshot that goal and made more than 100 million pesos by the age of 26, which is roughly $3 million US. It was in 1975 that Pablo started his cocaine operation. Pablo's first deal was with the head Medellin drug boss, Fabio Restrepo, for 14 kilos of coke. A little less than a month later, Fabio Restrepo was assassinated, and the operation, including drug routes leading out of Colombia, were now controlled by Escobar. He had a fleet of planes that would fly from Colombia to Florida to satisfy the US market. However, refueling was an issue for this kind of distance, so the Medellin cartel created an airstrip on an island in the Bahamas. They even had 2 submarines help smuggle the 15 tons of cocaine per day. Loved by some, hated by others, and feared by his competition. So the question is, how rich was he really? During the height of its operation, the Medellin cartel brought in around $150 million a day in today's money, none of which Pablo was paying taxes on. That's not bad for someone who started their career as a petty thief that stole cars and sold fake lottery tickets. In 1989, Pablo Escobar was ranked the 7th richest man in the world. But this didn't come without its bloody cost. His road to riches was paved with violence against his rivals and untold misery of the people who used his products. In today's money, his wealth would have been around $30 billion, making him one of the richest people on the planet. And if he had survived, it would surely have been unimaginable how much wealth he would have accumulated. Think about that for a second. Pablo Escobar died on December 2nd, 1993, and hasn't earned a dime since, and he would still be ranked one of the most rich and powerful people in existence. He owned his own zoo, complete with hippos that escaped and populated the countryside. In one of his Medellin hideouts, Pablo burned a pile of $2 million cash to keep his daughter warm. For a net worth like he had, $2 million was a drop in the ocean, and the safety and comfort of his daughter was more important. After the business grew so big, they couldn't launder the money quick enough, and the Medellin cartel had to write off $2.2 billion a year as a loss due to water damage and rats eating the paper money. This happened because they made so much money so quickly they couldn't launder it fast enough, so they stored the cash in warehouses, they buried it in the ground in the countryside, and in the walls of cartel members' homes. So that $2 million to keep his daughter warm doesn't seem like much in comparison. Many poor people still regard Pablo Escobar as a saint for his charitable donations, which built schools, libraries, and soccer fields. However, the intentions of these donations are questionable. Pablo was very aware of public relations and used this as a way to buy favor of the public. Remember, this is the same guy who gave a $5,000 bounty for anyone who would kill a cop.
So he's killing cops, which I have personal mixed feelings about because of an unjust ticket in '09. But as far as a few pointers go, this is terrible for PR. These guys have families who, believe it or not, actually like them, and they want to band together to do something about this Pablo guy. So tip number 1, if you're already winning, try to fly under the radar, because you could take out any one guy, but getting rid of a group of people who band together is a bitch.
This leads many to believe that his donations were more of a PR campaign than anything else. He was making so much money, it's reported that he spent $1,000 a week for rubber bands to keep his piles of money organized. He was so powerful and wealthy that when he went to prison, he negotiated with the Colombian government that he could build his own prison for himself with his own people as the guards, fully equipped with a soccer field and jacuzzis, and routine visits from prostitutes.
So after he goes to jail, he's got it made. He's going to be cleared of all of his charges because he served his sentence. His government is happy because they saved face. And his jail is a fucking resort. Like he's playing soccer with his friends and banging prostitutes in a jacuzzi. That's better than the Playboy Mansion. Like, how do I get sent to this jail? And he fucks it up by killing somebody while he's in there, and then he has to leave, which is considered an escape. Most of Escobar's problems wouldn't have happened if he just decided to chill and ride out a good thing. You're a cacazillionaire. Just ride out into the sunset with your hose. And maybe bring your wife and kids too.
The Medellin cartel did not have any unordinary business tactics. Rather, they ruled with extreme violence others were not prepared to take. This included drowning a servant for stealing silverware to let people know Pablo Escobar was not a person to be stolen from, all the way to invading a courthouse called the Palace of Justice, killing judges, key figures, and innocent people.
He became dominant because of his violence, no doubt. But that old saying, what got you here won't get you there, holds true. Violence got him to the top, but then he should have shifted his tactics to be more conservative and not kill civilians like they were his rival drug dealers, and he would have kept the heat off of his back.
After amassing wealth, he became a target of communist guerrilla groups. Needing to defend themselves, the cartels of the region formed private armies to combat this threat, as well as others. Even without equipment, just feeding a large group of people becomes more costly as time goes on, not to mention weapons, clothes, transport, etc.
So now he's being real flamboyant and brazen with his attacks. And a word of advice. If you're ever in the position where you're considering bombing a courthouse and you have the means to do so, that also means you have the resources to disappear to Southeast Asia and not worry about a damn thing for the rest of your life. And let me tell you, when my Patreon starts popping off, the first thing I'm going to do is disappear and get me some Asian girls.
Pablo built an estate called Napolis, which was around 20 square kilometers and furnished a bullfighting ring, collection of high-end cars, a zoo with imported animals, and a private airport. The estate is worth about $2.2 million. Ultimately, like any good crime story with amazing heights, this one ends with the death of our protagonist. Eventually, after bombing an international flight, American authorities got involved to help the Colombian government handle their cartel problems. With American intelligence, well-armed police groups closed in on Pablo, who was now on the run.
He knocked down a plane with Americans in it, and he didn't even lie about it. On 9/11, not even America knocked down America's planes without lying to America about what America did. That's how scary America is.
Pablo and his bodyguard tried escaping on the rooftops of the place they were staying, leading to a shootout that killed Pablo with multiple gunshot wounds. The fatal blow landed right below his ear, raising a question whether Pablo killed himself the last minute or if the authorities delivered the final blow. Only one thing is certain: no matter how much power and money you gain in this life, you won't take any of it with you when you die.